Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the tangle Celtic. Celtic was brought to us by Deanne Stewart-Mills, and I applaud her on creating this tangle and deconstructing this pattern so that way it fits the Zentangle. What do you want to call it? The Zentangle way. That's what we'll call it. And that is one thing that we don't do in Zentangle is do planning or work on graph paper or like dot grids or anything like that. There are some tangles that have a dot grid or a grid as part of the tangle. That's a little bit different. But we work to not do pre-planning. It's pen and ink, kind of drawing without a safety net type of thing. So I applaud her. I had a little bit of a challenge with this one, and I'll share why. And part of me is thinking, oh, it's just that the non-artist in me, but I have it figured out well enough. Well, I did it, so and it doesn't look too bad. But I wanted to make sure I figured it out well enough that I could explain it and have you all, especially if you're a non-artist like me, be able to do it and feel good about it. So, or at least be able to continue to practice. Now, in the description, I will have my step outs in there for you to use. And so we're just going to go ahead. We'll talk through this and we'll do this. All right. So this starts off with a zigzag. And, well, I was playing with them being rather large, but I kind of, actually, do I want to do, I'll just do this straight across. I don't know that it matters the dimensions. That's something, of course, that you can play with. So, just a simple zigzag. Then, she has us doing curved lines. And that was another thing that I played with because I was not having things line up the way she had it in her step outs. And I just came to the realization that I have to, adjust it a little bit at the end. So so just curved line like this. And these are going to the right. And then on the bottom as well, going in the same direction. Now, one thing that I'm still kind of thinking about on this, and I think at this step it doesn't really matter as much, but kind of aiming for a certain place over here on this line here. But I don't think that matters so much. I'm sharing that now because as you work through it, maybe you find that, that it might help you to aim for, like some other tangles will say, well, aim for the middle. Something like that. I'm thinking it's kind of like not really aiming for the middle. Maybe it's like a third of the way, third of the length of this, coming down from here. And here's why. So that was that was the second step. The third step is we're going to start making these curved lines. So what this one, though, it helps. So this curved line, I'm going to aim for this because I want it to kind of, it's eventually going to tie into that. So as let's see, and actually I'm going to draw, I'm moving my tile so that way I can see my hand and so I can see this as I'm drawing this curve. Well, there we go. I meant to draw that a little bit thicker, but my pen kind of had a mind of its own. So that's the first one. First one is easy. Now the second one, so we're coming from this line right here. And so this is where on Deanne's step outs that were on, well, they were her step outs or Linda Farmer's on Tangle Patterns. When she drew this line, these just lined up. And so I'm like, I couldn't get that to work. So what I'm doing is, so I'm starting this, I'm picturing this continuing, and that's where I'm going to start this line. And I'm going to draw this up here, and then I'm making the curve, keeping this in my sight. I hope that makes sense. So I'll run through that again. So I'm starting the line here, but I'm picturing, okay, this is going to come This is, at some point, is going to come and tie into this. So thinking hollowbow, and if you're not familiar with hollowbow, I think I have a video on that. It is the art of drawing behind, but what we have to do, and this is kind of like hollowbow backwards, because in hollowbow, we're drawing a straight line, we pick up our pen, we move it to the other side, put the pen down, and continue on so it looks like we've drawn underneath. This one, you know, and this kind of does lean into that pre-planning, but, you know, but it's one of those, well, if I just know that, well, it's not as pre-planning as, oh, let me draw a grid and let me get a compass out and let me do all of this pre-planning work. That's not what we want. Okay, and I've kind of done this long drawn out explanation of this so that way you'll understand. And then so the next one, same thing. So I'm kind of putting my pen here and I'm drawing up. And so I've gone off the page so I don't have to, I'm just kind of making up that that's where it will go. All right. Next step, it's the same idea. I'm not going to start on this one because when I have done that in the past, I forget. So I'm going to start here on this, what would be, I guess if this is the zig, this is the zag. So same idea, but here I don't have to worry about my width, but I am going to, same idea where I'm aiming my curve to this, but I'm not drawing it all the way. And here, same idea as I was doing here with this one, right? This one is going to continue here. So I'm positioning my pen so that when I connect them, I haven't set myself up for failure, essentially, is what I've done. Oops, and I forgot one right here. When you have the little partial things, then, you know, sometimes I forget. Oh, okay. And then I'll come back here at the end. And actually, this one I could kind of, let's see, can I? Yes, I can. I can work this one backwards. So this one, I can continue that like this. And then what I found is I just have to go and finish filling in. The key, though, is to make sure that you have all of these steps done. And, you know, if you're doing this on, you know, like I have here where I have a partial we're here and a partial there, make sure that you finish these before you go and tie them in. Because as I was playing with this, I would like, oh, and I forgot, and so then I'd have an oopsie. Okay, so then just very carefully, I'm continuing these lines, and very carefully because it's like it's like we want to kind of disguise it. So I kind of start a little early, you know, I'm not going right at the end. So I'm kind of like retracing a little bit. So that way you don't necessarily see that, the little dot, you know, where you pick things up. And then here, because that kind of goes off the page, I can do that. And there we have Celtic. And so with adding just that extra step, to me, it was just like a little security measure because I could not get it where, you know, I pre-planned how far to have this curve. So that way automatically this would then come up and tie right into those and go. Now, maybe if you have some luck with that, then super, because, it would be nice to not feel like you have to, you know, tie all those in. But I did add that into my step out. I just because that's the way that I found success in doing it, and I wanted to share that that bit. Every once in a while, I will do that where sometimes there's just some other little extra step that I personally need for that. But then so you have this interweaving, which is just really neat and not a lot of planning. Now this one, you can, you know, leave it as it is. You could color around the background. You could do an aura around the sides. But one way to do some shading is just I'm adding some graphite at those, along the lines that do cross. And, oops. And then I'll share the finished one that I had done also again. So just a little bit of graphite. Ooh, I had quite a bit still on my tortillon. Sometimes it's a good idea to test that. And then actually I'm going to do all of these that are in this direction so I'm not flip-flopping my tile so much. But this just helps to accentuate that over under look. And then too, depending on, what color tile you're working on or paper, you can have fun with that shading and adding some, extra white, in here where it's raised up so you could really make it shiny looking, as I like to call it. Oop, and there's one more. So at the time that I'm recording this, it is, let's see, it's the 15th of March. So in 2 days we have our St. Patrick's Day. I do have a couple other St. Patrick's Day Irish-inspired tangles posted in these Zentangle Quickies. One is called Lucky, and the other one is Oh Kevin, which that has a fun story, and that was something that my very, very good friend came up with. So there we go. There is Celtic. Here it is again. This is Lucky here. And I decided to do this one on the women. I was kind of holding my breath that because I hadn't quite perfected it yet. But you know what? Even if you don't, it still comes out really neat. So because as I'm looking closely, I'm like, some of my lines, especially going around a curve, that's a challenge always. And but you know what? It all comes out good in the end. And we call it whimsical. If it comes up a little wonky, right? Wonky. Yeah, that was right. Yeah. Whimsical is the new wonky. That's what we had come up with in our Tangle Time classes. So with that, I wish you happy St. Patrick's Day. And I hope that you enjoy this Tangle Celtic. And I wish you, before I wish you happy tangling, do appreciate any clicking the thumbs up if you like this. Well, if you enjoyed the video. You might not like the tangle, but if you enjoyed the video and the effort, then I appreciate the thumbs up. And if you did enjoy this video and want to be notified of when I post more, go ahead and click the subscribe button, and there's a little notification bell there as well that would notify you when I've posted a new video. So with that, now I will wish you happy tangling.